Let's talk about the world's most famous award, the Nobel Prize. You know it, right? It's this incredible symbol for the greatest achievements for all of humankind. But its origin story? It's got a pretty wild and honestly explosive twist.
So let's just get right into it. How on earth does the guy who invented dynamite end up creating the world's most prestigious prize for peace? It sounds like a total contradiction, doesn't it? Well, to figure this out, we've got to meet the man himself.
So, this is Alfred Nobel. He was a Swedish chemist, an engineer, an inventor, and his life took a turn that would, quite literally, change the world forever, long after he was gone.
Okay, so Nobel was born way back in 1833. By 1867, he had invented and patented dynamite. Now, this invention made him unbelievably wealthy, but, it also earned him a pretty dark reputation. His true legacy, though, was only really set in motion after he died in 1896. Just a few years later, in 1900, the Nobel Foundation was established, and the very first prizes were handed out the next year.
So what happened to make him do this? Well, the story goes that in 1888, a French newspaper made a huge mistake. They published Alfred's obituary instead of his brother's. And the headline? It read, "The Merchant of Death is dead." Can you imagine? He was horrified that this was how he'd be remembered. So that's what inspired him to rewrite his entire legacy. In his final will, he basically said that his whole massive fortune should be used to fund prizes for people who conferred the greatest benefit on mankind. What a turnaround.
So how did that dramatic change of heart become the massive global institution that we all know today? Let's break down exactly how the Nobel Prize actually works.
In the beginning, Nobel himself laid out 5 categories: literature, peace, physics, medicine, and chemistry. He felt these were the areas that really helped humanity move forward. But then, way later, in 1967, Sweden's central bank decided to create a prize for economics in his memory, and that's how we got to the 6 awards we have today.
And here's a fun fact that gets a lot of people. Not all the prizes are actually awarded in Sweden. While 5 of the 6 are presented in Stockholm, the Nobel Peace Prize is uniquely given out in Oslo, Norway. Nobel himself wanted it that way, probably because Sweden and Norway were in a union at the time.
And if you follow the news, keep an eye on your calendar. We all find out who the winners are in October, but the big fancy ceremonies in Stockholm and Oslo, they always happen on December 10th, which is the anniversary of Alfred Nobel's death.
All right, now for one of my favorite parts. For more than 100 years, this prize has gone to some truly incredible people. So let's take a look at some of the all-time record breakers. This is going to be fun.
Just take a second and think about it. The youngest person ever to receive this huge monumental honor. How old do you think they were?
The answer is just 17. 17 years old. I mean, that's an absolutely mind-blowing achievement at an age when most of us are just trying to figure out high school. And that incredible person is, of course, Malala Yousafzai. She received the Nobel Peace Prize in 2014 for her fight against the suppression of children and for the right of every child to get an education. She actually shared the prize that year with Kailash Satyarthi, another giant in the fight for children's rights.
Okay, so if 17 is the youngest, what do you think is on the other end of that spectrum? Who's the oldest?
That incredible honor goes to John B. Goodenough. He won the Nobel Prize in Chemistry back in 2019 at the amazing age of 97. He was recognized for his work in developing lithium-ion batteries. It just goes to show you that a game-changing discovery can happen at any age.
You know, winning 1 Nobel Prize is the achievement of a lifetime. But winning 2? That puts you in a seriously exclusive club. In fact, only 5 people in all of history have ever pulled it off.
So check out this list of legends. You've got John Bardeen, Frederick Sanger, and Carl Barry Sharpless, who each won twice in the exact same field. Then there's Linus Pauling, who won for chemistry and later for peace. But the standout here, you gotta talk about Marie Curie. She's the only person to have ever won in 2 different scientific fields, physics and chemistry. Absolutely iconic.
And it's not always just individuals who get the award. The International Committee of the Red Cross has been honored with the Nobel Peace Prize an astonishing 3 times for its crucial humanitarian work, especially during wartime.
And speaking of global impact, it's fascinating to zoom in and see the incredible contributions from specific nations. So let's take a moment to focus on the amazing laureates from India or of Indian origin.
The story for India really begins here with Rabindranath Tagore all the way back in 1913.
Now, this was a huge deal. He wasn't just the first Indian to win a Nobel, he was the first non-European to win the prize in literature, a truly historic moment for his beautiful collection of poems, Gitanjali.
Then, decades later, in 1979, the Peace Prize went to Mother Teresa. Now, she was born in Albania, but she made India her home and became a citizen in 1948. Her tireless work with the poorest of the poor in Calcutta made her the very first Indian woman to receive this honor. And over in the world of science, you have the brilliant C.V. Raman. He won the Physics Prize in 1930 for his discovery of the Raman effect, which was this groundbreaking finding about how light scatters and changes color when it passes through something. This discovery was so important that its anniversary, February 28th, is celebrated every year in India as National Science Day.
And that incredible legacy just keeps going. The list of distinguished laureates of Indian origin is so inspiring. You've got Amartya Sen, for example, who was recognized for his critical work in welfare economics. And more recently, Abhijit Banerjee won for his experimental approach to fighting global poverty. It's just an amazing list of brilliant minds.
So there you have it. From an invention of immense destructive power came a fund dedicated to humanity's greatest creative and compassionate minds. Alfred Nobel's story is just this powerful reminder that it's never too late to change how the world remembers you. Which leaves just one question: who will be next to change the world?